I knew I needed to direct a new film. I knew it was time to make something new. I feel like in every project that you do, through the process you learn a lot about yourself, who you are in that moment, the things that are in your head, your subconscious, your obsessions. I wanted to know who I was in that moment.
I actually met Jose Ricardo Garcia, the director and brilliant mind behind this film, about a year ago. When I first saw the film, Jose admitted that the sound had not been completed yet, or that the sound was actually nowhere near being in the process of being completed. And before seeing the movie, I was struck by his frustration at the project. I could tell that he had been through the ringer, that he was at his wit's end. I was struck with this overwhelming need to help Jose finish his film.
After you saw it the first time, in talking with me about it, Jason was very explicit in saying, you got to talk to this guy, you got to see this film. I think there's incredible potential there. And so set up a screening, and I was struck immediately after seeing the first screening of it that there was so much there, it was so, even without any kind of finished sound there, it was an incredibly detailed and incredibly complex and multi-textural experience going in there. So I was hooked from the first screening and knew then that this was something that really needed to get completed. It needed to be done.
The first challenge was $0. The movie ended up costing me around $130, which is extremely low for the level of production that this movie needed.
The hardest challenge is visually, from the effects standpoint, was because of some budget constraints and because of the relatively, I don't want to say short time, but the relatively limited time we had in order to make the production happen. There was a lot of tweaking and developing of the effect shots as we went. So we sort of had to kind of wing it because things were constantly changing due to circumstances beyond our control. But in the end, I think we pulled it off. I think it worked out well.
I think probably the biggest challenge for me in working on the project was that there was so many possibilities in doing the sound design. It's totally up to almost running on instinct at certain points. I had to learn to trust those instincts, my instincts, in deciding what does this moment need, what needs to be put in here, and then just go with it, focus on it, and hope Jose likes it.
I think one challenge was convincing Jose I was serious when I approached him about helping, work on He. I think positioning, working as producer and positioning you to come in that sort of fourth quarter at times was challenging, because it was like we had nothing to do with the script or the generation, and that was unlike anything that we had done.
Right.
This was really the first time that we worked with somebody else on their project, and
I was very cognizant of being timid to not try and step on toes too much for some reason. Jose
was so great to say, come on in and let me know what doesn't work, and really welcomed us into this thing that is He.
Because the movie is edited and it touches the subjects like dreams and stream of thought and the subconscious and all these different nightmares and these worlds that you don't necessarily know what's going on, and it all works as like the brain. And then I wanted literally the whole arc of the story is based on the writing process, but the abstract portion of the movie, which a lot has to do with the sound and the locations, and were completely subconscious. I didn't question it, and I feel like because of that, the movie is so different, because I wasn't trying to make it like feel that way. It was being that way because it was being made that way.
I think He is one of those pieces that one viewing is not enough.
Absolutely.
The movie is meant to be subjective. It's meant to invite the audience in to make the movie with me. So you can feel free to re-edit the movie however you want in your head. Figure out what happens when, the order of things. And to me that was very exciting, to make a movie that was strictly psychological and completely up to the viewer.
It's definitely one of those ones that it deserves a study, for lack of a better term.
I would take it a step further and say, you know, that emotional response that you're talking about has a lot to do with trying to figure out, while you're watching it the first time, what is he? And I don't think that's something that, especially on a first viewing, that you're doing yourself a disservice as a viewer to try and figure all of that out on a first viewing.
I would agree.
Rather than, you know, step back and let the experience happen, and then afterwards sort of review and figure out what he was for you. He is, I thought the professor did a great job explaining it in his lecture. I mean, it's all right there.
Oh, I would agree.
Just watch it.
To me, he represents the inner journey that everyone goes through, whether it be good or bad, particularly from a creative aspect. How do you get out those inner, I don't want to say demons, but those inner issues that you have going on, the other you that you usually don't show anybody. He represents that journey.
For me, and going back to what drew you to the project question, it was, you know, it's the themes of time, and it's the themes of how many moments are in a moment.
It's taking a moment in time that's as small as the time it takes to say he, and then sort of exploding it out into this kind of everything, all the potential things that can happen within that split second. I mean, a dream only takes a split second, and yet when you experience it, it happens in real time, and that's the way that you remember it. So it's kind of taking this tiny little moment and blowing it up.
It's a good answer.
He. I guess you're gonna have to find out for yourself.